Bensi here, coming at you with another video from inside the EVE Echoes final test. Today we are looking at my absolute favourite ship in the entirety of New Eden. This is kind of my signature vessel. So yes, of course, we are talking about the Angel Cartel Faction Frigate, the DRAMIEL. Now, back in the OBT, I was flying one of these an awful lot. They're very fast, nippy little cannon ships that have received quite a bit of toning down between the OBT and final test. Once I saw their statistics, I knew I needed to get my hand on one of these and actually try it myself. So humongous thanks and shout out to Harfora for managing to build one of these beasts for me. That is no mean feat at all. In fact, the blueprints alone are selling for anywhere between 500 million and 1 billion ISK. The ships are going for an easy 1.5 billion. Let's give this a try and see what has changed. Is it still worth the time? Is this still going to remain my signature ship in New Eden, or am I going to have to shift up to something different? Now, before we jump in on this one, of course, if you do enjoy the video, let me know by hitting like on it. Consider subscribing to the channel for all things EVE Echoes, and ding that notification bell so that you know when the next video goes live. Let me know if there's a particular question you want answered, or a topic you want to see me cover, a particular ship you want me to look at, that kind of thing. Let me know in the comment section down below, or come find me on social media, or the Catskull Cartel Discord. Details are on screen for that now. The Discord has public channels open to everyone. We love talking about all things EVE Echoes, and we will all help out in any way that we can. Talking of help as well, if you do want to help support this channel, you can do so by joining me over on Patreon. Every dollar really does make a difference to me, so thank you so much to everyone who has pledged support so far, and everyone who pledges in the future. Seriously, words cannot describe how much it humbles me and how important it really, really is. Anyway, that said and done, let's have a look at the Angel Cartel DRAMIEL, at its stats, how they've changed, how you can fit this, and what kind of crazy shenanigans you can get up to with it. So if we look into its fitting window at the moment, you can see it has 3 high slots, 3 low slots, 3 medium slots, and 3 of each rig type. It is a tech level 6, though it gives a dash here. You do need to be at least at level 6 in order to fly one of these, and you're probably going to require Omega as well to get the most out of it, as you'll see in a moment. Now, its roll bonuses have changed. Rather than having a faster warp speed than most other frigates, and an additional 100% bonus, which gave it a 15 AU warp speed, which was just magnificent and one of my favourite things about the ship, and rather than it having a flat 400% increase to small turret DPS, we are now looking at a 50% warp speed increase, which means it has been nerfed down to 7.5 AU, which makes me incredibly sad, because I don't see why that needed nerfing. What's wrong with a 15 AU warp speed? It just got me from Jita back to nullsec faster. Anyway, it does also get warp acceleration now, so it does reach that warp speed a little bit faster. It's not quite as good overall, but it is still pretty good. It's nice to have, and it's got a 5-second increase to damage control activation time. Now, if you have any damage control modules, these are medium modules that when you put them on, massively up all your resistances. It's worth getting one of these. I didn't have one to hand for this fitting, as you'll see, but that additional 5 seconds activation time really does make a huge difference to how powerful a damage control unit actually is. Now, below that as well, looking at the skill point bonuses, if you have any skills in advanced small cannon operation, for each point in those you get an additional 15% small cannon damage, up to obviously a maximum of 75, and a reduction of 5% small cannon activation time, which of course, if you have all 5 levels in that, is going to be a 25% reduction. Now, rather than a flat 400% increase to damage, this is now a 75% increase to damage, but with a 25% reduced activation time as well. So that actually does increase the DPS fairly significantly. It's not quite the same, but it's still respectable, and I'm still achieving fairly similar figures, as we'll cover in a moment. Finally, for each skill you have in Advanced Frigate Command, you will get a 7.5% increase to small cannon tracking speed, and a 10% small cannon accuracy fall-off. So it's just a little bit of extra range and faster tracking speed on those, which when you look at the ship's abilities, that flight velocity of 477 and the warp speed of 5.8 AU, it is ultimately a very speedy little frigate. Shields are exactly what you'd expect of it. Let's have a look at how I've outfitted this. So first things first, is it a shield or is it a armor tank? Of course it is a shield tank. You can see 2064 compared to 1495. It is definitely a shield tank, which is why in the low slots I've gone straight in with a Republic Fleet small shield extender. You can also go for a small shield booster. I personally prefer the extender on this one just because I tend to find the booster uses up a little bit too much capacitor over time, whereas this I can just whack it on when I think I'm going to take some damage and deal with that. But the shield booster does work just as well. because I want to get up close and personal really quickly with this thing, and I really want to lean heavily hard into that whole speedy little frigate thing. I've gone for a Republic fleet small afterburner. Again, a micro warp drive could work here. The downside to a micro warp drive, though, is obviously the amount of signature radius that it pumps you up to, and the amount of capacitor that it takes out. And I want to have absolutely everything available for when I get up close and personal. Speaking of getting up close and personal and dealing damage, the Republic Fleet Gyro Stabilizer is the last unit there that picks things off, just to up the DPS a little bit and give me that opportunity just to do a little bit of an extra punch when you're up close and personal. Now, because I'm going to be moving so fast, my transverse velocity against the target is going to be incredibly high. Now, yes, okay, the turrets are going to have incredibly high tracking speed, plus the ship bonuses help on that, but I still want to put in a Mark V stasis web of fire. Ultimately, I'm going to be within that 11.2 kilometers optimal range, so it's worth having this just to slow the enemy ship down enough that I just score those extra hits. The second slot is, of course, the Mark VII Warp Disruptor, which we finally managed to get our greasy little mitts on. Again, well done to the Angel Cartel for finding where these things spawn and managing to grab a couple and bring them back. Again, huge thanks to the guys for supplying me with this one. That is, it's just awesome. I'm super happy with that. This allows me in PvP sort of format to jump in, lock a ship down in place so that it can't warp off, whilst I then just blow it to teeny tiny pieces. Now, talking of blowing to teeny tiny pieces, that's where the high slots come in. I found in the Corporation hangar, I've asked the guys, they're more than happy for me to take these Gisty C-type small autocannons. Where do you get these? I don't know, but we have 3 of them. So I've taken them and put them onto my Dramiel. Optimal range 1.32 kilometers, accuracy fall-off of 8.9 means ultimately I'm sitting at about 10 kilometers at 50%, or I want to be a little bit closer than that if possible. I'm ultimately going to be around the 3 to 5 kilometer mark here. Tracking speed 676 is just astronomically high through the roof. Single hit damage 326. This is a decent fast thing, and activation time of 2.66. Crikey, this turret just fires quickly and it fires hard, and I've got 3 of those equipped there just to really pump up those stats. This means if you look at the DPS that this thing can kick out, if I go back to the offensive tab, that's 367.47 DPS. That's a lot of damage if I can get close enough to pull it off. Finally, of course, capacitor is stable with this, so I can have all of those things running and I will remain stable. Which actually, that said, let's have a look. Do I have the... No, I don't have the shield booster handy, so I can't test that. No worries, no worries. Offensive capabilities are still pretty high. I'm very happy with that. Now, what kind of skills are you going to be wanting to run with this particular ship? Well, of course, there is the obvious choices of things like your Frigate Command and Advanced Frigate Command. Advanced Frigate Command obviously giving you those bonuses. If nothing else, it's just the additional flight inertia velocity and flight inertia modifier and velocity, which just makes this nimble little frigate even more nimble. Afterburner or micro warp drive, whichever one you've gone for. Just micro warp drives are so expensive in the beta now that I'm avoiding them like the plague. Go with the afterburner, pump in some stats in there, and it will move that little bit quicker. It's a shield tank, so shield operation, advanced shield operation, and shield hardening are all kind of skills that you're going to want and will benefit from. Of course, as well, frigate defense upgrade. I've got to advanced just because this gives you extra shield, armor, and structure. Makes you that little bit more survivable in your piddly little frigates. Frigate engineering, not really required with this particular ship. The Dramiel does have a decent enough power grid and capacitor, but if you find that you're not quite fitting it, this is a skill that's always worth having if, like me, you consider yourself a frigate pilot. Finally, under the cannons, anything small cannon that has small cannon on the name, 100% you need to be taking that and equipping it. Advanced small cannon operation is the important one here, as that is the one that is going to buff up the actual Dramiel stats thanks to its skill bonuses. Obviously, I do want to go into advanced small cannon upgrade as well. It takes a little bit of money. In fact, let's buy that now just to bookmark it. For that extra damage, accuracy fall off, optimal range, and the gyro stabilizer lasting a little bit longer. Anyway, as you can see, I don't have enough skill points to actually start working on that one at the moment. Little spoiler about a future video up ahead at the bottom of the screen there. So, that all said and done, I haven't talked about rigs underfitting, and I did actually build some rigs. You saw me in the industry video, or haven't seen, depending on which order I put these videos out, me building some rigs. So what I've gone for is cannon collision accelerators for additional flat damage. I've got 2 of those equipped, and 1 cannon burst aerator for the reduction in the activation time. I recommend splitting those so you have 2 of one and 1 of the other. Obviously, you can then increase these as well. I only had Mark 1 blueprints on hand, but if you can get a Mark 3 in there, 100% this is the kind of ship that will really benefit from it. On the engineering side, though, I've gone for a Mark 3 Warp Core Optimizer level 3, because when I lost the Dramiel in the last beta, it was because I got locked down. I went out there with just 1 warp stability. I thought 1 would be enough, and then I got hit by 3 ships all locking me down at the same time. Thus, the Warp Core Optimizer here of Warp Jammer Strength -3 means that, huzzah, that's not going to happen this time. Perhaps I'm being a bit paranoid, but damn it, I don't want to lose a vessel this blasted expensive. Cool, that said and done, let's undock this bad boy, take it out into space, and see how she actually fares. I know I've just called it a bad boy and then immediately said she. It is a spaceship, so she is the technical term. So let's take this bad girl. No, that sounds too sexual. Let's take this ship out into combat and actually have a look. And yes, I did say ship before anyone complains. I've had a few people comment that sometimes when I say ship, it doesn't sound like I put a P on the end. And I'll let you figure out what the rest of that is. So let's have a look at the different anomalies we have here. I don't really want to jump into a 9. I'm not sure if I can take a 9, and I don't want to risk it straight off. There's no small 6, there's a 9 small. Let's head into the Angel Medium Anomaly, level 6, and see how she handles. And again, you see I align very quickly. I hit warp speed ludicrously quickly, and you'll see that warp speed should shoot all the way up to 7.5. Nope, didn't get there. The distance isn't far enough for that to count. But anyway, there we are. It can reach 7.5, I do assure you, and with some extra rigs as well, that would be the case. Okay, so there is someone else out here as well, which gives me a little bit of extra protection, but awesome. Let's have a look at that burst. I'm going to approach that burst up to 5 or 6 kilometers. Let's pop on that afterburner to get the extra distance, put the cannons in place, and webify it as well, just because I can, though I'm going to need to be closer for the web. There we are. Web should go on now. Nice little punch of damage there. Awesome. Let's now move on to something a little bit bigger, like the Rupture. So that Rupture, let's orbit at 4 kilometers, and see how I do with that DPS. I don't need to lock anything down, this isn't PvP, nothing's going to be escaping, but let's add on that gyro stabilizer. Decent amount of damage coming out there. I can't see the actual thing going down though. That could just be my internet lag. I am out at a fishing camp at the moment, hence the severe delay in some of the graphics here going back and forth. And for the audio as well, I do apologize if there's any issues with audio. I am literally sitting in the bathroom with a duvet over my head to get some kind of like padding involved there. But you can see here that Gistum Rupture is going down quickly. I am too close to the Gistum for it to be able to shoot me. But I can just whittle away at its health, and I'm pleased with that damage. I am pleased with that damage. I'm very happy with that, in fact. That is exactly how I remember it in the beta. Decent amounts of punches. Yeah, you're not going to take out an entire cruiser in one hit, but you do get a ridiculous amount of damage for a ship this size, especially considering that you are almost impossible to hit. And with the fittings I've got, I'm just locking everything down. Nothing is going to be able to escape. Nothing can hit me. And if they can't escape, and if they can't hit me, that just means they're going to die then, really, doesn't it? That's kind of the point we're getting at here. And I can just approach as well. Approach and sit at 3 kilometers or 6 kilometers. There, I'm just set to 4 just because it was the first one I could get to. And you see, it's a good chunk of damage. It's still taking down a Gistum Bellicose at very quick, speed. Yeah, okay, it's not like the Can-U battle cruiser, but then again, it's not expected to be. This isn't a battle cruiser level ship. I am freezing on the graphics there. I can feel my phone getting very hot sitting under this duvet, so I think I will need to call this video soon. But you should be getting an idea here, at least, for the kind of damage that this thing can output and the speed at which I can get between my targets. You see, sitting at 16 kilometers now. By the time I get actually properly locked on and that graphical issue again hitches, I'm down to 9 kilometers, 8 kilometers, 6 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 4 kilometers. It's just a ludicrous amount of speed there. Now, Jupiter Ace, obviously, sorry, I know I'm invading your thing here to showcase this. I just didn't want to jump off to something else. I thought I'd give you a hand here. Yes, I'm stealing some of your bounties, but you can have all the loot at the end of it. I don't really care too much about the loot. Let's approach to 6 kilometers, just because I don't want to be too far away. Add on that gyro stabilizer, and you'll see I'm still sitting at nearly full capacitor. Almost everything has been running. I've taken no damage whatsoever, and bam, down that goes as well. Cool. Anyway, let's leave poor Jupiter to it. I'm going to head back to the station, dock up, and head on from there. So hopefully this has inspired you that yes, the Dramiel is still a fantastic little frigate. It's not quite the ridiculously speedy little thing that it was back in the OBT, and I do hope they bring back some of that speed. 7.5 is okay, but the Dramiel was great because it had 15. Even if they met me halfway and just went 10, just give me 10. 10 warp speed would be fine. I might end up actually putting some warp speed rigs on here just for the sake of it, just to try and emulate back to that 15 AU because it's so much fun. The warp speed, I don't get why they nerfed that. The cannons, I understand why they've nerfed those, and with it's the DPS is down. It's not down by a lot, but it's down a little bit, and I'm happy with that. For a frigate, this thing is amazing, and if you're going out solo PvP hunting, this thing is terrifying. If you're mining in low sec and you see me pull up in the Dramiel, get the hell out of there quickly. In fact, if you've seen me, it's probably too late. I'm probably already locking on, probably already locking you down with the warp disruptor, and about to rip you a new one. And that is what the Dramiel does. Be afraid, be very afraid of this horned little devil. And there I go with the sexual innuendo again. Anyway, folks, thank you ever so much for watching. I do hope that this is a ship that you will enjoy. Certainly, I am 100% going to keep this as my signature ship. This is the ship you will see me flying around a lot in when we get to launch. I love this little ship. I love how it looks. I love how it flies. I love the skills that are involved in using it. I just, this encapsulates everything that I love about a good ship in EVE Echoes. Well, anyway, folks, thank you ever so much for watching right to the end of this one. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. Come join us on the Angel Cartel Discord. You all know the drill by now. Otherwise, happy sailing and see you in New Eden.